Good afternoon, viewers, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to another edition of today's program. My name is Donald Obaido, and with me on the studio, I have.
Stephen, good to be with you, our people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Steve, for us today to be able to make it to come live to discuss a very particular issues. And the topic of today is the benefit of the constitutional force majeure. So, Mr. Steve, can you please elaborate on the benefit of the constitutional force majeure for our viewers to understand the basis of today's topic?
Absolutely. Force majeure itself is a term in business agreement, a clause that protects the parties should a situation arise that is beyond their control to meet up with their contractual agreement. And the current ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine presents us with a perfect example of what what force majeure is all about. I'll come to how it applies to Nigeria's constitution. Over 6,000 businesses are known to have either left Russia or they have defaulted in their contractual agreement with other people, other businesses, or other countries around the world. That is because the war in Russia have prevented them from carrying out or keeping to their terms of agreement. Now, how does that apply to the Nigerian constitution? There is a 68 exclusive list item that the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination are challenging, and that led to declaration of constitutional force majeure in 2020, December 16. And what that means is that there is constitutional logjam, there is a constitutional dispute between the nationalities and the operators of Nigeria, that we do not have any constitution anymore, because that constitution that has taken away all kinds of developmental opportunities, security, among other things, has essentially made it impossible for people to operate in a normal environment. And that led to the constitutional force majeure that was declared. And in addition to this, I want to go straight to what is at the heart of our discussion today. He who fails to plan plans to fail. Nigeria is a big scam in the sense that it has been standing on a false foundation. Nigeria is a British enterprise occupying the lands of the original owners. The owners of the land under the aegis of Nigeria Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, came together and declared the constitutional force majeure on the 16th of December, 2020. The Yoruba, Lower Niger, and Middle Belt blocks make up the NINAS alliance. The geographical expression called Nigeria lied that we came together, agreed to federate, and therefore enacted a constitution for ourselves, more like enacting our own damnation. That never happened. There was no plebiscite, there was no referendum, there was no vote, there was no input from our general population. That constitution, imposed unitary constitution, has 68 items on the federal exclusive list, including arms and ammunition, security agencies, petroleum resources, refineries, aviation, prisons, infrastructures, immigration, elections, to mention but a few. In addition, that constitution provides for presidential system of government, where all executive powers are vested in one single person as the chief executive, that is, the president. As everyone is witnessing what is going on in Nigeria now, the politics of North and South, the ethnic and religious sentiments, the campaign and rush to obtain PVC to vote under the current fraudulent 1999 constitution, we see that majority of the people want change. If we want change without any strategy or plans, there will be no effective or desired change, and this should sink in. If we want change without any strategy or plans, there will be no effective or desired change. As Nigeria is faced with myriads of problems, The representatives of different ethnic nationalities in Nigeria sought out strategies and plans for a permanent change. That change started with the declaration of constitutional force majeure on December the 16th, 2020. The benefits of the constitutional force majeure declaration and activation are what the indigenous people are yet to harvest. We shall be discussing these benefits of constitutional force majeure, which is automatic end to the killings, untold hardships, brutality, unending insecurity, marginalizations, injustice, and the restoration of the sovereignty of the peoples of Nigeria, the indigenous people, hijacked by the illicit federal government via that imposed constitution of 1999, so on and so forth, that the changes that will come about through this constitutional force majeure. Further national elections in 2023 under that constitution will only reinforce and renew the life of that evil 1999 constitution, no matter who wins, and that is deeper damnation for the peoples of Nigeria. The NINA's constitutional force majeure provides the framework for an orderly transitioning from where Nigerians and Nigeria are currently stuck to a fresh constitutional protocols dictated by the self-determination imperative currently suppressed by the 1999 Constitution. This is our introduction to our focus today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Steve, for that wonderful introduction. And I hope viewers, you guys are paying attention to every details we are trying to pass across to you people, because earlier on when you were trying to make this introduction, you said he who fails to plan to fail. Yeah, because in life, we all understand the basis of life, that you don't just walk through life as a rigmaroling activities. You plan your day. When you wake up in the morning, you plan how your day is gonna be. So according to Nigeria has no structure of planning, and because if we take a look at all the things narrowing down from 1960 up to the fraudulent 1999 imposed constitution, we will understand that like there is no structure for anything that is meant for the citizens of Nigeria. So as at that, to make this whole explanation a very dictative one for people to understand, the Nigerian Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination had a meeting whereby I'll be playing a video for our viewers to understand the basis of this information we're trying to pass across. Please, viewers, stay tuned as we play this short clip, and we'll come back and deliberate more on the security issues and furthermore.
Indigenous Nationalities Alliance Self-Determination has warned that any attempt to conduct the 2023 general elections using the 1999 Constitution may truncate Nigeria's peace and lead the country to a failed state. Co-convener of the group, Yusuf Turaki, who made this known during a press briefing in Lagos, warned that there are little chances of a better Nigeria under the current unitary constitutional order. The group further reiterated that failure to heed these warnings may lead to grave consequences for the country.
Let us remind ourselves that everything was currently lament in Nigeria flows from the 1999 Unitary Constitution, whether it is the killing going on everywhere in Nigeria, the general insecurity, the seizure of all economic access, including oil and gas, the ports, and other maritime assets, solid minerals, including gold, the monumental corruption. Nothing will get better in Nigeria under the unitary constitutional order, no matter who gets to power. From the foregoing, it is clear that whoever genuinely seeks to extinguish the source of the wars and miseries of Nigeria and Nigerians must find a way to break this set cycle of periodic renewal of the life of the 1999 Constitution by way of elections. It is obvious that the action to be taken to end our bondage and misery is to shut down the voyage to any further national elections under the 1999 Constitution, which merely renews our bondage.
like you all could see, like you all could hear, the 1999 Constitution, the only thing that could renew the life of our bondage, which is the Constitution, is through this election. So that's why we are urging every Nigerians, we are calling on every Nigerians to please pay attention to what is happening. You don't just dance to the rhythm of music without understanding the rhythm of the music you are dancing to. So we're asking every Nigerians to listen to this proper information that is being conveyed by the Nigeria Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination. So, Mr. Steve, I want you to also want to talk more about this constitutional force majeure, the benefit it will provide to our citizens, because it's like you are doing giving and taking. When you want to give, you want to expect something in return. So we're trying to introduce the constitutional force majeure to the citizens of Nigeria. Let's expatiate more of the benefits they're going to get when this constitutional force majeure come into force.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Donald. And again, I want to remind our people, our listeners, what force majeure refers to. It's a clause in a contract to remove liability from either side should situations that is beyond both sides' control happen that prevents point A from keeping their contractual obligation with point B. It is a clause that protects. Like if you put your container, for example, in a ship heading from Asia to Africa, there is a limit to the coverage there. Should that ship, as a result of earthquake or whatsoever, goes under, that's a force majeure right there. It is something that protects either side when events that is beyond their control occurs. And then you bring this to Nigeria, constitutional force majeure. Nigeria's indigenous nationalities, through their representatives, through their own people, have studied the Nigerian situation, the lack of development, lack of security, lack of national cohesion, stalled development, a lot of things going wrong with Nigeria. And they said, what is behind all this? They narrowed it down to the Constitution of Nigeria. That the Constitution of Nigeria essentially tied Nigerians' hands behind them. Like Nigerians are under detention, like Nigerians are restricted. You cannot provide for, in fact, that has even been made more obvious by current government that first of all took guns away from Nigerians while arming foreigners, invading terrorists coming into Nigeria. They are coming with AK-47 and AK-49 while Nigerians were disarmed by their own government. It goes back to the Constitution that you cannot have expected end in Nigeria, or you cannot have expected tomorrow, an organized tomorrow out of Nigeria, is because of that Constitution, because it is not a product of our people. So the response of NINAS by declaring constitutional force majeure is to address the unworkable federation, the country that is not working. How do we go out of this? Let's go back to the regions and get our people to recommit or to decide their way going forward. This is what the constitutional force majeure is seeking to address, to restore power and consent to our people so that our people can give their consent, their due consent, to say, look, we want to continue in this union. So from the regions, when we go through referendum, the regions will vote. The Lower Niger Territory, the Oduduwa, and Middle Belt will vote on whether they want to remain in this country. And NINAS equally calls for, first of all, to initiate a transitional period whereby we all will agree on a transition that will take care of referendum vote. This is to heal the many wounds that Nigeria as a country is nursing today, so that we can have a planned, progressive nation moving forward, or nations. Because if we vote no to continue with Nigeria, we will emerge nations. Nations will emerge. And this will enhance everything. This will restore this will destroy that 68 exclusive list and restore power to the people. It will start from the local councils, our municipalities, and to our entire regions or the emerging nations. So the constitutional force majeure is to address the unworkable state of Nigeria. That it could be better than it is right now. In fact, there is nothing good today. Because as at today, the president on his way to Katsina, his home state, was attacked and 2 policemen were killed. And one of those killed is a senior police officer, the area commander of that area. At the same time, it was a coordinated attack. As that attack was going on in Katsina, they were also attacking Kuje prison to free maybe some terrorists they keep there, including Abba Kyari. These are developing today. It's not like far-fetched. So just to get our people on the right track, we need to do the first things first. That first thing first is to go back to the foundation of Nigeria and fix the damage that has been existing there. Nigeria has been running on a fraudulent 1999 constitution that strips the citizens of every right, of every power. In fact, the power, for example, the governor, the current governor of Anambra State came in on the premise to fix the security challenge in the state. It was when he came in now, he realized that he's not even in charge of security. Some state governors in the South are talking about arming their people to protect themselves from the security challenges that is killing people in their dozens. Guess who is opposing them? The Constitution says they cannot have state police. So all these and many others, this security being one out of the 68 is just a sample of all that is going on in Nigeria. Why we cannot have electricity, why we cannot have good road, why we cannot have infrastructures, why we cannot deal with corruption and jail people or shoot them for violating our national security by ripping the country apart. Everything goes back to the 1999 Constitution. And that is the essence of the constitutional force majeure. For our people to actually have a fresh start and say, look, this is our own. This constitution is our own. We made it and it's going to guide us. Though we can, over the years, I mean, the American Constitution has gone over how many amendments? 28? I'm not very sure. But amendments can occur on a constitution. First of all, it must be the people's constitution. That's the number one thing. After that, amendments can occur as we make progress, as we begin to realize that we needed to make changes.
Yeah.
Nigeria's constitution that says we the people is a lie right there. The preamble is a lie because the people never consented to it. Just like the information minister then, Dr. Nyawodo, clearly stated that he never saw the copy of it. He was to be the one that will know who to print it and where to print it. He never saw it until Olusegun Obasanjo was sworn in 1999. So it has been from one fraud to the other. From all the military coups, all that they've been doing from July 15, 1966 till 1999, it was all about setting the South up for takeover. There was nothing beyond that. All their plan from July 16, 1966 was to plot on how to disable the indigenous Nigerians, how to weaken them, how to knock off the wheels out of their drive and render them demobilized. That is what they now came up with as 1999 Constitution, to make sure that we are made strangers in our ancestral lands. That's why the people in Benue State, Nasarawa, Plateau, wherever, they can't go to bed and rest because they will be invaded at night. People that are being protected by the government goes about killing people. So that is the need for constitutional force majeure, because right now, every South and every Middle Belt is in danger.
in a brief one, with all what you've just said, I quite understood that, like, what is written in constitution most times is not important, but how the constitution came about is what
Yes.
matters. Because this particular topic we're talking about, the fraudulent 1999 constitution, how it came about is never the wish of the people. So a constitution whereby we're talking about Nigerian that is full with different nationalities, they have to be involved in that constitution because they have their preference. On every indigenous people have their preference on how this constitution should come about. We'll quickly be reading some few comments from our viewers this afternoon. We have one from Isi Momodo. He said, a very good evening from here and kudos to the job we're doing. Thank you so much, Mr. Isi Momodo. And we have one from Uze Kwal. I can't pronounce the Igbo name properly. Forgive me about that. He said that the constitutional force majeure means returning the people to democracy, which actually is correct.
Yeah.
Which actually is correct. Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution, because when we talk about democracy, we talk about democracy for the people, which means the people need to make the rules, they have to make the laws, they have to make all the decisions. It's all about the people and the people and the people. There is nothing in democracy that doesn't include the people. So as at that, the constitution is not giving our people, the people, the citizens of Nigeria, that this constitution has ripped off from their educational system, their health, the health sector is nothing to be right home about. Our roads are nothing to be right home about. Our infrastructure, our education, just name it. Security is something we're going to be looking into right away, because this constitution has enforced the people that should be protecting us, as they claim, and now the people killing us. And what gives them this power, this privilege to do this is the constitution. So we'll also be reading another one from our viewers that said the constitutional force majeure recognize the power of the people and give back power to the people. Exactly.
Yes.
This constitutional force majeure is bringing back those things that are being ripped off from you, the citizens. We are not just saying constitutional force majeure all in the name because we want to maybe make the government think at least we are opposition. We're trying to make them not feel relevant. We are trying to want to bring the people back into the society for them to benefit what is actually their right, because it is the right of the citizens to get all of these things we are trying to make known to them. That's what the constitutional force majeure is talking about. Please, if you're watching this program, kindly tag friends, share, and invite people to come and watch, because we're trying to pass an information that will benefit and bring progress to the future of our dear nation, if they will still be in Nigeria or not. Quickly,
well, the way we've known this, whatever the problem with Nigeria is this: it's not magic, it's not joke. Everything that is wrong with Nigeria flows out of the 1999 Constitution, and that was the basis of the constitutional force majeure, because it's not working unless we wish to deceive ourselves, like lie to ourselves and make ourselves feel good by lying to ourselves, which is very deep deception. I mean, nobody will want to deceive themselves. The simple question that each of our people should ask themselves is Nigeria working for you? If it is not working, what is the way out? And so it's not a rocket science to have actually arrived at one single reason why Nigeria is the way it is. The foundation. Nigeria is anchored on 1999 Constitution. That's the only thing that is binding the North, the Sharia belt, that 12 states that's separated from the rest of Nigerians. What is keeping us is that Constitution of 1999. If we are to tear down that document today, we have no relationship whatsoever with them. And so the call for constitutional force majeure is actually to trigger a process of healing, restoration, reconstruction, rebuilding. Basically to get the structures in a good foundation. That's what this is all about. I don't like, sometimes I wonder, is there a better way to put it for our people to understand what is going on? It is just a way to get this train that has left the rail tracks back on track. For a train to derail is a big disaster. That's what Nigeria is. Nigeria is like a train that left tracks, like completely out. And so everything they are doing is pretending that there is something in place that is worth fighting for. It is the resources that has been forcefully taken over that they are fighting for. It's not that they have any love for the country. There is no love for Nigeria. Nigeria's flag is soaked in blood. To other citizens around the world, their flag is so close to their heart. But that of Nigeria reminds you of the things you don't want to associate with a country with.
You saying Nigeria is like a train that left the track. You see, when a train leave his particular track, for you to be able to get that train back on track, it has to stop.
Yes.
And get it back on track. Nigeria has to stop and reconstruct whatever way we have missed.
Yeah.
Get it back on track. This is what we are telling them, because if we think the process they are all clamoring for now is going to make this whole system, because I won't say they are looking for a shortcut, because the Bible neutrally said people died because of lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
You understand? Our people always want to understand that, like, oh, we can solve this with the way of what other people are saying, but they don't actually want to take a proper deep analysis to understand the basis explanation of how it's going to work. So we have to go back to the actual point where this particular thing has been missing from, because you can't just come back and say you want to build something that has been destroyed without laying a structure or a plan, or maybe a building that was collapsed. You just come, you said, oh, this building is collapsed. Wherever this building has collapsed, the level it collapsed to, I want to start setting it up from there without go checking if the foundation of that building still worth building upon. Yeah. You understand? So these are some of the areas we want Nigerians to look into, because whatever we are saying, we don't call on the government, because we know the system of the government are using that constitution to deceive the citizens. So the people we are concerned about is the citizens. The constitutional force majeure is concerned about the citizens of these indigenous nationalities all across the Nigerian states. So we are calling on every Nigerians, let's come together, let's accord and face the particular situation that has tied us down for so many years, because if we don't look into that issue, we will still continue rigmaroling and we will thinking as if we are moving forward, right about we are like a car that is on reverse. Because as it is now, if we don't fail to tackle this issue and Nigeria think another round of election is going to like be the solution to all this problem, I'm telling you, we are like a car that is on reverse. We don't know we are on reverse, and the destruction ahead of us is going to be very disastrous. And I want to be reading up to date the security measures that Nigeria has undergo. We're talking about up to date in even this July the 6th.
Yes.
The banditry and the terrorism on the rising in Nigeria is something we cannot write home about. Banditry went to 2 healthcare centers. They shot 69 people in Katsina State. Abuja, the federal territory capital, In Kuje prison, like you stated, they went there, they terrorized that prison, and gunmen also killed a police inspector, and they adopted a Chinese nationality in Kwara State. We also what happened in Ondo State. We also what happened in Ondo, and
At the church or what?
at the church. Official security has also they've also said that like that attack on Ondo State is from ISWAP. Okay, I really don't understand what even our information minister Lai Mohammed came out and said it.
Let me come in here, brother.
Yeah,
Nigeria have no shame. Nigeria, you see, Nigeria's system, the current government in Nigeria lacks shame. They are unable to be ashamed of themselves. They are telling Nigerians that, oh no, it is not the Fulani, it is the ISWAP, the Islamic State of West Africa. So I don't know what comfort they have in that. I don't know whatever they consider to be comfort in this admission. Oh no, it's not Fulani. Guess what? ISIS came into Nigeria last year or a few years back, but by last year, they killed the leader of Boko Haram and took over the structures, took over the leadership. They executed orders along with that Boko Haram leader. So ISIS, ISWAP, Boko Haram, Fulani herdsmen terrorists, these are all operating from the same source. And the Nigerian government, current government of Muhammad Buhari, is behind them. You see, so all that they are trying to mislead Nigerians to point different directions is all joke. It's all to hoodwink people. Current government of Nigeria has elements that are sympathetic to jihad in the government. Issa Pantami is one of them. Muhammad Buhari was the person that Boko Haram selected to represent them when Jonathan's government tried to initiate talks with Boko Haram to stop the jihad going on. And so when you hear somebody like Lai Mohammed speak, you can see a man that lacks the ability to be ashamed of himself. The government lacks credibility. They have their hand right in the soup. They are involved. They are funding, they are defending terrorist groups in Nigeria. That's why the citizens will lose their gun while the terrorists have the guns. That's why the borders of Nigeria are thrown open so that these terrorists will move in to overpower the indigenous people and take over their land. I mean, we know the hundreds and hundreds of people that have been killed in Benue State, but Muhammad Buhari never goes there to visit.
And there is a national threat security going on around, even in the Niger, Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, Borno, Kwara, Benue, Sokoto, Plateau State. These 9 states in the northern areas are attacked by this banditry and this Fulani for the past years now. And they are now migrating into the southwest.
They are everywhere.
The forest area of Oyo, Ogun, Ondo, Ekiti, Osun, Kwara, Kogi. Everywhere. They are all witnessing this heavy experience of this militant and bandit attack, and yet these people are pretending they don't know what is happening. Yeah. There is unsafe tension of this attack that is going to be, they are massively deploying their troops into all these forests, and we are calling on every Nigerian. If we are ignorant about all this information, we are passing across to you guys, and when this thing starts surfacing, it will look as a fly that refused to hear and was buried along with the corpse. Because they said, like there's a saying that says, when a monkey hand stay too long in a soup, it now becomes a human being's hand. So we don't want all these things that we are saying to come upon our people. Because at the end of it all, don't say because it hasn't gotten to your doorstep, you will ignore this information. Because we don't know who is next in line. We don't know who is next in line. Because these guys are there, they will not stop, not until we take that power. Because there is something energizing them. There is something that has kept us away from protecting ourselves from these people. Not that we cannot fight back. We can fight back, but what has stopped us from not fighting back? the people, the same constitution that has given them privilege to carry arms and stop us from carrying arms to defend our territory.
That's because the people are fighting against the state. The state is fighting against the people, against the original citizens, the indigenous people that has ancestral ties to the land. Because the current government is fueling what is going on, they disarm the Nigerian people first to make sure that they don't put up any resistance. They've been trying all sorts of things to expand their hold, including acquisition of shorelines, forest reserves, Ruga, everything that has attracted the focus of this government has been working against Nigerian security, setting Nigeria on fire, making sure that there is no peace in the country, making sure there is disharmony across the country, making sure that there is tension everywhere. And they are the ones that, through their spokesmen, defend the terrorists. And they fund them. Current government, through one Dambazu, he was the national security advisor, he might still be. They funded Boko Haram with a billion naira, which worked out back then to be $300 million, approximately. Now, what was that meant for? To acquire more weapons, to overpower the people. That's why there is insecurity across the country. That's why people cannot go to church and hope to go home safely. That's why people cannot go to their farm in southern Kaduna, Benue State, or Plateau, or Nasarawa, or Adamawa, wherever, and be safe. That's why there is insecurity in the Lower Niger territory. That's why there is problem everywhere, because the foundation is porous. Nigeria's foundation is porous.
Why are we 100% subscribed to the government, this present administration being in support? How can somebody come out and say, I am bringing information from a terrorist group? How did you come about meeting these people? How did you communicate with these people? We have communications system all over Nigeria, and none of this system the federal government had decided to want to partner with and say, okay, let's use this communication system to track these people. Because when you fail to want to address a particular concern that is killing the citizens of the country, that means you are actually supporting or sponsoring that program that is actually killing the people. That is why I will subscribe to that word that, like, this government are pioneer sponsors of this killing that is happening, because they think that's the only way they could put the people into perpetual fear, into perpetual stagnation, to understand that power belongs, because they see themselves as the original owner of Nigeria.
You know who else is powering the killing going on across Nigeria now? Those that are pushing to sustain the 1999 Constitution through validation by another election. Rightly or wrongly, whether they know it or they don't know it, the continued existence of Nigeria will be based on the 1999 Constitution. But we can do something about that by first of all saying, hey, what are we doing? Let's first of all figure out what is going on with this country before we make any other move toward election. Personal change will not address Nigeria's problem. Nigeria's problem is at the core. It's inside the marrow. It is something that kills from within. And so if Nigerians want to, and I'm addressing Nigerian indigenous peoples of all faith, Nigerian indigenous nationalities, especially the Christians, the churches. If you encourage your faithfuls, if you encourage your people to go for another election, you are validating the killings that are spreading across the country. You are encouraging, you are supporting the killing of a student in a Sokoto college for saying, oh, thank you, Jesus, for helping me to pass through my exams. She was stoned and her body set on fire. Thanks to the illicit 1999 Constitution that denies that young lady security. Because if there is punishment for such crimes, they wouldn't attempt it. They killed her because they believed that nothing will happen to them. They killed her because they believe that they are the one to determine her future. And after that, they have carried out many more like that. So the state of Nigeria, the state of insecurity, the state of disquietness, the national disenchantment that is holding Nigerians down, like the knees of the caliphate that is on the neck of Nigerians, all draws their lifeline from the 1999 Constitution. And so the constitutional force majeure is a call for fresh start, so that we can go back and recommit by either encouraging what is taking lives from us, what is blocking us from moving forward like other progressive countries, what is making sure that we remain poor and poor and poor while thieves in government are becoming kings and monarchs among us. If you want to deal with this problem, if you desire freedom, if you desire development, if you desire an expected future, if you desire a planned environment, if you want to have steady power supply, if you want to bequeath power supply to your local government, which is done all over the world, the cities provide their energy. If you want to see things happen in a more progressive way, the first thing that will happen is for Nigeria to be subjected to multi-regional referendum, so that new constitutional protocols will emerge from the regions. And if the outcome, if the result supports this continued wobbly, off-rail movement of Nigeria that we are experiencing right now, then we continue that way. But if we vote to say, yes, we want to get out, that also will be binding, because it will signal a new dawn for all our people captured in the Lower Niger territory, all our people in the Middle Belt, and all our people in the Oduduwa territory, Oduduwa nation. This is the people's power. This is what restores power. This is what will make a Yoruba citizen say, for the flag of Yoruba, I will die. This is what will make somebody from Lower Niger territory to say, I will defend this flag of the Lower Niger territory with my blood. This is what will make somebody from Benue State to say, I will stand for Benue State. I will stand for the flag that represents me. This is my country. This is my nation. Any Nigerian that says this now is lying. He's deceiving himself or herself. It doesn't matter. So election is distraction. 2023 is distraction by the Fulani to lead our people further deep into slaughter.
Yeah.
They have no good intentions. They have no good intentions for the unity of Nigeria. Otherwise, there will be no northern candidate contesting this election. Let's just put that straight out.
Yeah, because you see, if Nigerians are so adamant about that single fact, you discover that let's narrow it down from 1960 up to date, or let's say from the military up to the civilian ruling and all of that, you discover only Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan. Let's narrow it down a little more.
Yeah,
these people have actually taken Nigeria as their home place where they can dwell and get away with whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Referendum will only sort out Nigeria unworkable state. There will be no state police without referendum.
Yes.
So while we are striking around this matter, trying to want to ensure that the people get this agreement of us telling the citizens, whereby they've stopped imagine, look at those people that are saying they are ESN. They are called all sorts of names by this same government, whereby if you come out now and say Boko Haram is a terrorist group, they will not admit. They've never admit that Boko Haram is a terrorist group. None of the government official of today has actually come out to declare Boko Haram as a terrorist. The last time they came out, they said they are pressure group from the north that they have to be looked into. They were interviewing one man from the Arewa. He said a Fulani man see himself as an African that could stay or reside anywhere in the part of Africa.
It's unbelievable.
A Fulani man see himself as an Ijo. He see himself as an Urobo. He see himself. How can you be when you migrated from where you were supposed to be residing? There is land, there is territory, there are boundaries. When we talk
about the governor of Bauchi that was saying that nonsense. That was the governor of Bauchi.
Yes, I was just looking. I say, wow, we are trying to educate Nigerians. Let's not get into this issue of what these guys are trying to narrow us through just to see us suffer the more, because as you and I could recognize up to this very particular time, there is still underground ethnic cleansing that most people are not aware of.
Of course.
There is still an underground ethnic cleansing that they are trying to facilitate. So we are calling on everybody, because we could take a look now. Most of our faith leaders are trying to want to patronize this system, because some of them are playing to the script of these people are master planner, and they know how to walk through this system very well. And they are giving us this script, and they are just sitting, relaxing, laughing, because if we say we are wise enough and we want to go through this election, they will just watch them and they manipulate. They are the one in charge of everything. You want to call the INEC chairman now, you don't want to call the Fulani man. Even the APC chairman has come out and said they are going to win this election, whether by hook or by crook, to keep themselves remaining in power. So what are we seeing?
You have to actually look deeper to see what these people are working on. Wadimba Ezonyekwelo just commented that PVC collection is a license to the next level of killings, hardships, school strikes, insecurity, unemployment. I mean, look at a country, Nigeria, a country, contraption, this country called Nigeria. For how many months have university lecturers been on strike? That means the university has been shut. There has been no traction.
I think I'm hearing like they've called off the ASU strike. I don't know.
Yeah, but it has been ongoing for a while.
Yeah.
That's only in Nigeria you see such things happening, because they want the people to stay in ignorance, because in their state of ignorance, they have more control over them. That's what they did to the Almajiri. That's what they did to the Talakakwas in the north. They made sure that they become ignorant, and then they become submissive and subjective to their whims and caprices. Let's be very clear on this. Nigeria was never, those that framed this fraudulent criminal 1999 constitution was not looking for a country when they were doing what they were doing. They were looking for a means to conquer, to subdue the people, to take over their land. That was their goal. And that is what they are initializing, implementing through Muhammadu Buhari, his government. They are on a mission. What throws spanner into their wheel is the constitutional force majeure. The constitutional force majeure is a wake-up call to all the indigenous Nigerians, all those that have lost friends or relatives in Middle Belt, all those that have lost fellow countrymen in Oduduwa Nation, in Lower Niger Territory, all those Christians that has been eliminated in the far north for being Christians. What the constitutional force majeure is doing is to call them up and say, why would you sleep forever? Why your house is being set on fire? There is an opportunity for new start. That new start will start by having a transitional government that will give birth to multi-regional referendum. This is an opportunity to heal all the wounds, all the injuries, all the elements that is killing Nigerians. It will lead to a lot of improvement. It holds a lot of future, a lot of things in store for Nigerians moving forward, but not under where we are standing today, which is looking toward 2023 for another election. Let us sort Nigeria out now so that we can look forward to the future with a better focus that includes all our people. It will give Nigeria citizens they can be proud of, citizens that will defend the country with their blood. Current Nigeria is not worth dying for.
We are using this information to reach out to the middle belt and the people from the south region of the so-called fraudulent unitary Nigeria. There is a better life. Listen, those of you that say you will die for Nigeria, Nigeria does not worth dying for.
No.
Have you asked yourself, can Nigeria die for you?
No.
The people that are ruling you now, do they care about your welfare?
No.
So we want to break that chain that has held us for captivity for a very long time. It has to go down. Those of you that are very obedient, come and obedient to the bring down of this constitution. We want to be very obedient in bringing down the constitution, because the last time I checked on Peter Obi, who has a credible profile, an amazing profile, I discovered he said it, narrowed down, he said it, he said, Nigeria is like a motor without an engine.
Yeah, without brain box.
Without a brain box.
Yeah.
He said it that reconstructing Nigeria is the best option to go about bringing this country into a landlight.
And not changing the driver.
And not changing the driver. But now he wants to drive that particular vehicle that has no brain box. Because I know that there is problem everywhere now. The NMPP, they're trying to want to merge with now, are saying they want to produce the president while he becomes the vice. So it is now a debate whereby nobody understands how this political party are going. We don't care about those political parties anymore. We are asking them to shut down. Every political party right now should shut down if they have the interest of the people.
Exactly.
If they have the interest of the people. Imagine a political party that can be selling a form for 100 million naira to an aspirant. How do you think such political party have you a commodity? Because if such a person can come out and spend such money just to obtain the form, not the flag bearer now. Imagine Ahmed Bola Tinubu cutting checks of millions of dollars right in their primaries. If somebody come into power, that such person come into power, what do you expect such a person to do? Rather than to, first of all, want to recover all the money he has spent during the process. We are not saying Peter Obi is not a good candidate because they said he's stingy. No, we are not against his profile or whatever, but we are saying if Nigeria has to work, because I will say it categorically, if he becomes the president, he will be like a crocodile that is tied.
Yeah.
I will not be able to function. This morning, we will be taking our first caller this morning. Please, Mr. Steve, let's take our first caller, viewers, and listen to what our caller has to say.
Sure.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, hello, LN Radio. It's evening here in Abuja. This is Ndidi. I'm calling from Abuja in Nigeria. And thank you for another very interesting show.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to make a few comments about, let's say, Peter Obi. What we know about him is he went to London. He visited some, key people in London. Soon after that, possibly the next day, he leaves PDP and joins Labour Party. What happened in England? Now, some people can go ahead and say that Peter Obi is a good man and all that. I'm not going to say any such rubbish because it's rubbish. Because if you look at it, he is one of the people the Panama Papers for having companies, shell companies and tax evasion. Peter Obi. Now, so that is a major crime on this earth. I've paid my taxes and I'm not rich and I've paid my taxes and it's wrong. So Peter Obi is not that wonderful person that everybody wants to pretend. And Nigerians like to lie and deceive themselves, and then they get in a huge mess. Then they start running abroad and causing a burden for others because they want to believe a lie. It's time now for young people to face reality. Peter Obi is named in Panama Papers. Go and do the research. What made him leave PDP and join Labour Party? Is it that they have something on him? Did the British say, you better go do this and that? If you don't do that, we're going to, do something to you because of what, your background? I don't know. I'm speculating, but it is very strange. That's number one. And because of Peter Obi, now everybody, people from the Southeast, South, and some Middle Belt are now running to get their PVC, which is exactly what the caliphate and the British are above them. If you see the Ninas pyramid, it's got the British crown, then it's got the caliphate. What they want is they want people who don't want to think, people who don't like truth, to go for elections under a fraud. No white person is going to do that, but everybody sees the African as an idiot. I'm telling you the truth, because I spent all my life with white people. It's only now that I'm in Nigeria, and it annoys me that each time the African is able to be manipulated by everyone. And it's because he doesn't want to think and he loves lies. And there's no point talking about God if you like lies.
That's true. That's true. Our people like to deceive themselves.
It's disgraceful, and God will make you a slave of the whole world. If you're going to go with lies, you and your children are going to be slaves forever. So it's time for Nigerian youths to grow up in your mind. They've done IQ tests about Africans and Europeans. People don't like it. But what I'm seeing in Nigeria, I'm beginning to wonder, is it true? You have to, if you're 18 or above, you have to act like an adult. You cannot allow people to, pull you by the nose. There is no constitution for Nigeria, because a forgery means rubbish. In England, because I'm a retired Metropolitan Police officer, if somebody has a motor vehicle insurance certificate and it's fake, it means he has no insurance, and that's a crime in England.
True.
So he's got a fake motor vehicle insurance certificate. It means he's got none. He's got none, and that one is understood even by 8-year-olds in England. So I don't understand what it is about Nigerians. They're 40 years old, they're 50 years old, they're 30 years old. The Constitution is a forgery, and they don't get it.
Yes.
And they're going to now, Peter Obi, APGA, from APGA to PDP, from PDP to Labour Party. You don't do that in England. In England, if you're 18 and you follow Labour, let's say, because there's a Labour Party in England and Conservative, you stick with it all your life.
Indeed.
You don't go talking about like this. Yeah? So what I'm saying,
there's a lot of things wrong with Nigeria. There's a lot of things wrong with Nigeria. Nigeria doesn't have ethics. There is no morality in politics in Nigeria.
They need to grow up.
Yeah.
There's a time you draw a line in the sand and you say that I've been a fool since the 600 AD till today. But from 600 AD to today, draw a line and say I'm going to act like intelligent people of the earth.
Yeah.
And begin to like truth so you don't mess everybody up. There is no constitution. That document is a forgery.
Yeah.
And what they want, they want you to, because all they want is they need your consent to go to elections. Your PVC may not even work on the day. Doesn't matter. All they need is that you go to elections. Even if nobody from South, Southeast, and Middle Belt votes, it doesn't matter. INEC will declare someone.
Yes.
So they're leading you all by the nose.
Yeah.
So this is all I have to say, is that people need the constitutional force majeure. They've already said to the whole world that thing is a forgery and that we don't want to live by it. But if the foolish Nigerians ignore it and say, we're going to run for Peter Obi, who is named for Panama Papers, that means, he's a crook. Yeah, he's a crook. He came to my dad's funeral, but I'm going to call him a crook because it's true. Because truth is more important to me than friendship. So if people are going to now go to elections, thinking Peter Obi, when you know the INEC is not going to declare him a winner, we know, we're kind of nearly sure. We know that elections are rigged anyway. There's no constitution. What NIMAS has done is they've made it so easy. They said, hey, come on, we have no constitution. We don't want anarchy. Let's go to transitional governments, which is what countries do when they're in this kind of a mess. You go to transitional governments. Experts know how to run it, even if you may not, but experts know. During the transitional government, we have multi-regional referendums for self-determination. How hard is that to understand?
And that's a very good way to get to freedom for our people. Ndidi, thank you very much for your intervention.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope they're going to listen. Thank you.
They will. They have to listen because information is power.
yes.
You have to be informed so that you will not be deformed. Because if they keep going along the same road they are trying to walk through right now, it's retaining the same suffering we have been suffering for so many years. The people have to take a U-turn. They have to make a complete U-turn of the road they are walking in now, because when you are driving, you miss the right direction you are supposed to make a turn. You have to go forward and make a U-turn. They have to make a U-turn right now. It is not too late. It is not too late. We are calling on every Nigerian youth. We are calling on every father, mother, every parents out there, a small-scale business owner that are clamoring for 2023 election should make a U-turn and start pushing forward for a new constitution. That is what we need. A new constitution through multi-regional referendum. That is what we are clamoring for. And that is the only thing that is going to bring change to our dear nation.
Yes, can I just say something that just come to my mind?
Okay.
When Panama Papers came out those few years back, the prime minister or the president, whatever, of Iceland is a tiny country just above Norway in the Arctic Circle. He was named that very day. The people of Iceland, they have better things to do than to be coming out in the freezing cold. They came out in the freezing cold. They don't want to have a leader who is named in Panama Papers. He resigned.
Yeah, that's exactly where I wanted to come in. Yeah.
Panama Papers. There was no trial. Just his name was. We've got Peter B has been named in that, and that's what the people of Nigeria want.
Well,
I'm sorry. Tinubu, we know what Tinubu is. Atiku, we know what they. We've got three crooks, and Nigerians think that their lives will improve with under three crooks and a forgery. Is this not madness at a high level? And then they're going to be calling God's name, that God's going to help them. God will not help them.
Yeah.
God has helped them with the constitutional force majeure to do the right thing. And they need to take it on. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, indeed. And Brother Steve, I think he has something to want to talk in contribution to what all you've narrowed down. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. He actually touched a few hot buttons. And one of the things that, one of the comments here actually talked on that. Nigeria lacks honor and integrity. That's why you can go to bed today, APC, tomorrow you wake up and decide to go to PDP.
It's like a football team.
Yeah, so they have there is nothing at the core, nothing that you will say these are the values. I mean, the values of our political party. These are the core values that we cannot trade away for anything. Nothing. You can, I mean, let's look at Atiku Abubakar, for example. He moved from PDP to APC, from APC back to PDP, from PDP back to APC. So it has been all back and forth. Tinubu moved from AD, formed alliance with CPC, and then they came up with APC. So all these people, they have no integrity. It all goes to the core of Nigeria's existence. Lies rules. Lies is what Nigeria thrives on. And so Peter Obi, yes, his name appeared on the Panama Papers. Guess what? Atiku Abubakar has an ongoing criminal investigation that involves the Vice President of Kenya, Ruto. This whole thing is centered around Dubai. Tinubu has drug issues that made him to forfeit money to US government. These are documented, recorded, even some are in video evidence. So what are we talking about? Our people have no value anymore. That's why we have criminals sitting in the National Assembly as lawmakers. I mean, can you imagine a gangster paradise? That's Nigeria, where thieves, criminals, hardened criminals, worse than armed robbers, terrorists, sponsors, are in ministerial position in Nigeria. And so, because we do not deliver, we do not give justice against injustice, because people do not pay any price for doing wrong, they turn around to become our leaders. They become presidents, they become governors, they have immunity from state. After robbing their states, they go to National Assembly, where they will go to bed for 8 years. Nobody is querying them. They're under immunity. So we are dealing with a country that is rotten at the core. The foundation of Nigeria is rotten. This house is going to collapse on everybody if we fail to act on time. If we do not do the right things on time, if we do not punish evil done against our people, especially state looters, especially those that are evading tax and moving their money into shell corporations overseas. Just as that Finland, they said the prime minister resigned because his name was mentioned in the papers. That is because they have honor, they have dignity, they have integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nigeria lacks integrity, Nigeria lacks justice. Injustice is justice in Nigeria.
It happens here in Canada when the financial minister was accused of $40,000. He resigned.
You're talking about 40,000. A city councillor resigned for claiming $5,000 in travel expenses, just because it was questioned. He refunded the money.
And he resigned.
Yeah.
You see,
integrity is integrity is not a Nigerian thing. And this is where Nigerians must learn to become disobedient by saying, let's go for this constitution that has turned all of us criminals. Let's change this document, because let's put sentiments apart. Do you know how Nigerians view you how foreigners view you when you introduce yourself as a Nigerian?
I was talking to someone yesterday, said, do you know that your country has bad reputation everywhere in the world?
Yeah. When the resources of Nigeria is mentioned, people will tell you, oh, that's why you are having all the problems you're having. You know why? An unregulated environment will turn everything that is in it into bad thing. Nigeria is an unregulated environment that is crying to the rest of the world to have it regulated. Nigeria needs to go through constitutional referendum so that we can begin to take responsibility for every one of our actions in government or outside government. If we are to introduce rule of law, if we are to live by rule of law, the very first step is to go through constitutional amendments.
Nigeria has to live with rule of law. That's the only thing that will bring development.
We cannot attain that rule of law until we go through constitutional referendum. We have to go through that, because this whole thing about Nigeria has been thriving on evil, on criminality. Like, who you know opens way for you. It is not because of what you can do. It is not because of your abilities, but because of somebody you know. What are we going to talk about? A senator of Nigeria's National Assembly, one that has been in Nigerian National Assembly for 20 years, is sitting in a London jail now. You know why? Because he believes in cutting corners. Nigeria believes in making sure Nigeria is destroyed while they can get medical help abroad, because they have the money, they have the visa, they have the means to carry themselves through. What about the millions and millions and millions of citizens that are not able to get out of their locality? Not to talk about getting to the city or to the center or to buy ticket and fly abroad. What, like, is that a country or a gangster paradise? Nigeria is a criminal enterprise where thieves are calling the shots, where armed robbers are the leaders, where the leaders are the number one enemy of the country.
They are.
In a decent society, all the leaders in Nigeria will be in jail. Some of them will be shot. Some of them will receive the death injection for them to die, to be put to sleep because they have fought against the country.
And there is only one thing that could do that, which is the Constitution. And if we think these people can just wake up one day and say they are giving up
in the
system, that is what I'm telling people.
It will never happen.
Do you think these people that have planned to want to pluck you into darkness will just wake up one day and say, you know what, I want to repent from all the sins and atrocity I've been committing towards the citizens of Nigeria? Please, Mr. Steve, let's go on a brief commercial. And when we come back, we'll be talking about this rule of law, because this rule of law has to be implemented for us to be able to bring back the sovereignty of every indigenous nationality. Viewers will go on a short commercial, and when we come back, we'll be deliberating more on our topic before us today, which is the benefit of the constitutional force majeure.
Sure.
Nigeria, as defined by the 1999 Constitution, has become a criminal enterprise. They've seized everything. They now want to kill off those who will challenge them tomorrow. That's what's going on now. And it's being done in the name of the federal government of Nigeria. Anybody who wants to get away from this enslavement imposed by this constitution must now join those who say that that constitution must go down.
Thank you so much, viewers, for that short commercial. And I hope you all are paying attention to all we have been saying. Ninas is calling for action. Ninas is calling for action on a multi-regional referendum through a transitional government that will take us through the process whereby every indigenous nationality will be given back their sovereignty to operate in the function, or if Nigeria is going to be a nation that is still going to coexist, if there's still going to be a federation, if we want to be co-federate as a nation together, we have to decide that. Power needs to get back to the people. So we are asking all Nigerians, if you've been following us, if you've been following our page, if you need more information on where to go, guidelines on what to do, and the things on how to get to this particular point that we are on right now, and the way forward on what you can do, you can kindly visit www.ninasvoice.org. There is a lot of information right there, and there is a petition right there on this website that we are clamoring for every Nigerian to go there and sign in that petition. The constitutional force majeure is a way forward for us to get back our sovereignty, a way for us to get back all those things we have been denied of as citizens of Nigeria. We will be talking a little more about the rule of law, which our government, our current government, they failed to appreciate, because if you call Nigerian government, you will discover that there is no dignity, there is no honesty, there is no transparency, and there's no equity in any of them. So what has given them this privilege to be acting the way they are acting is because of the rule of law that is not in place. So we want to talk briefly about that, and we will be calling today today's episode a day, and we'll be seeing you guys on Saturday, as we'll be having a guest speaker on Saturday to join us on this program. So, Mr. Steve, is there anything you want to throw more light upon this rule of law that this government, not only this government, from the existence of the fraudulent union, they've plucked us into? Is there anything you want to talk about the rule of law that they are failing to implement in Nigeria's system?
Yeah. Let me say this about rule of law. To expect rule of law in current criminal situation that Nigeria has found itself is like trying to squeeze water out of the rock. The foundation, again, I go back to the foundation. When the head is sick, the whole body is diseased. Because Nigeria's foundation, which is the Constitution, is conceived in fraud. And the preamble says, we the people, when we did not. We were never part of it. We never consented. We never voted. There was no plebiscite. There was no referendum vote. There was no adoption of that constitution from our regions and not from our states either, on our local government. No, there was nothing. And so you can see that from that first page, going deep into the constitution and the clauses and paragraphs or sections, the whole thing has been done out of criminal intent. It was not meant to survive any serious interrogation. Nigeria's foundation dictates everything else that is going on. And so when the NINA Secretary General says all that is going on against Nigeria, that is working against Nigeria, all flows from 1999 Constitution, he is bang on. That is what it is. Everything that is wrong with Nigeria, including the lack of rule of law. What is rule of law? Crime and punishment. There are certain things you don't do and you don't get away with it.
Get away with it, yeah.
There is punishment for every act that is not right. So that is what brought Nigeria to where it is, because there is impunity. Power means might in Nigeria. But here, I mean, some years ago, a municipal police bus was pulled over by a policeman in BC, British Columbia, Vancouver to be precise. A policeman that was working in the night with other police officers doing stop and check to prevent people from driving drunk, pulled over the police chief. And when he checked him through breathalyzer, he found out that he was above the limit. He was drunk. He didn't cover it up. The police officer, the senior police officer, was disciplined by the junior officer that was doing his job. He apprehended this guy that was driving drunk. I just cited that single example of what rule of law means. That the law does not know who you are.
Who you are.
If you break it, you pay it. You pay the price.
Mm-hmm.
And so Nigeria is a jungle where any animal goes after the other one that it considers weak enough to become food for it. And so this is the situation Nigerians are today. If we want to have rule of law, just like we want to have electricity, good road, security, housing, you want to go to the market and be able to get what you bought yesterday, the same price today, tomorrow. All that is going wrong today will go right if we are to go through constitutional force majeure.
Yeah.
Why are we always talking about this? Because it matters, because it counts, because it can't be discounted. You can't do without it. If we are going to deal with the cancer that has destroyed Nigeria, we must go through constitutional force majeure. If we're going to begin to have a country of rule of law where a citizen will not just be harassed anyhow by a soldier or by police because they are dressed in military uniform or police uniform and holding guns. If all those nonsense is to stop, we have to go through constitutional force majeure. When we do that, we empower our people. We restore the stolen power, the stolen right of citizenship that has been taken away from our people. 1999 stripped Nigerians of everything called rule of law because the Constitution itself is a fraud. And do not expect justice out of injustice.
Injustice. You cannot be.
Yeah. A fraud cannot give birth to justice.
At all.
Yeah, we shouldn't deceive ourselves. If we want to have an organized society, one that we can be proud of, one that foreigners will be proud to come visit and go and come back again, we have to go through constitutional rearrangement, reordering. We have to go back to our regions. We have to go and actually complete the independence of our people, because we never had any independence yet. We're still in slavery. We're still under occupation. And I mean Oduduwa, Middle Belt, Lower Niger Territory, we are in chains. And it's because of that lack of rule of law that bequeathed the resources in the Delta to people far-flung from the area, people from the Caliphate. They lay claim to the oil and gas in the Delta. They lay claim to the crude oil in the Delta and the gas in the East. How can we have such a country? It's Nigeria.
Nigeria is like a dying man that needs to go back to his home to put his house in order.
Yeah. All that they are doing, and by this I mean the current minders of Nigeria and the past minders of Nigeria, all that they've been doing is to make up this old woman look like a young, beautiful lady. Use makeup, use all kinds of makeup to make something that is dead and ugly and stinky look very attractive, lively, and okay. But it is not okay. Remove the makeup and you see the facade. We are painting over a very corrupt, dirty, skunk element that cannot be rescued. Nigeria is beyond redemption. And so what's the solution? Let's go through constitutional reordering, through multi-regional referendum. This is a very peaceful process to initiate and trigger the healing process. Like I have always said before, I don't need to know who the president of my country is, as long as the system is functional. Now we don't have a functional country. Let's go and fix what the problem of this country is. Then we talk about leadership. We must fix the problem first. We must fix the basis of our union first before we go for any other selection of leaders, so that those leaders will operate from a very pure, brand new system of rules and regulations. If a business operates based on memorandum of understanding, on what is Nigeria operating? Nigeria is operating on something that was not consented to by our people, by our representatives from all over Middle Belt, Lower Niger Territory, and Oduduwa. What they did was to impose their own criminally generated mindset on our people as constitution. Abdul Salam Abubakar did this. So that is not a constitution. That's a criminal document. It's like a forged check. And like Ndidi said when she was commenting, if you pay for something with a forged money that is not fake money, you haven't paid for it.
You stole it.
You're essentially stealing. Nigerian constitution is robbery against Nigerians. This shouldn't be difficult to understand. And so let all the obedience out there, let them get disobedient and become obedient by asking, on what contractual document are we actually trying to elect a leader? Under what basis? On what condition? On what constitution? This is the right of our people to ask, to inquire. Under what condition are we actually doing this? Is it to deepen our slavery or to free ourselves? I hope common sense will begin to come back to our people, that people will realize this is no waste of time. You know, let's do the right thing. Let's get it right by saving ourselves from this jungle, from this unfortunate jungle we have found ourselves. A situation that have thrown up unknown gunmen in the southeast, invaders into church in Ondo State in southwest to kill worshippers. The same thing happening in southern Kaduna, Benue State, everywhere. If we want to save ourselves from all this confusion, if we want to put an end to all these tragedies going on all over the place, all the economic difficulties, all the medical challenges that Nigerians have faced, everything that is wrong, especially the 68 exclusive list, if we want to deal with that, the very first step is to go for constitution change. We need to go back to our regions and vote to recommit into these things. because the Nigerian Union was destroyed when the military struck in 1966. There has not been any recommitment from the regions ever since. And so let's stop deceiving ourselves and get this thing right. It holds a lot for our people. The future will look wonderful if we get it right, and it will look very nasty. It will be full of tragedy if we ignore these warnings, if we don't push for the right moves now, which is let's go for constitutional reordering. Let's go for regional recommitment. If we don't do that, well, in fact, anyone that is encouraging the continuation of Nigeria as is a hater of their own self. They hate themselves and the people around them.
Thank you so much. You've had Mr. Steve. If you don't hate yourself very well, this is the right moves for you to take. Join us as we push forward through the constitutional force majeure, urging every Nigerian to come on board with the Nigeria Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, on what we are championing, on how we could go through the process of a transitional process to a referendum that will be giving every indigenous nationality the opportunity to get back their sovereignty and to participate in this dysfunctional union called Nigeria. Not unless this is being taken care of, nothing will change. And we are urging every Nigerian, please, let's do the needful, because God in heaven has given us all the necessary tools that we need to move forward and be a better people on our indigenous land. And if we fail to handle this, only God knows what is going to be for us. And I'm telling you, from all the indications all around, I'm telling you, it is not a good end that we're going to see if we emerge on the way the people are trending on now. And we are calling on all Nigerians, please, we'll be here same time on Saturday, at the same time, same station. Please stay tuned, as we'll be coming 7 p.m. Nigerian time, and we'll be here live with a guest that will be speaking on Saturday. And before we go, Mr. Steve, if there's one or two words you want to say to our people, let them all be disobedient and come obedient in our 1999 Constitution and bringing down, which is the fraudulent Constitution that is a problem to all Nigerians. Is there one word you want to say for the closing of today's program? And we'll call it.
I will yield my time to read just a few comments and remind our people on what matters. Why are we dedicating our time doing what we're doing? It is for the benefit of our people. It is for the liberation of our people. It is for the eyes of the blind to be opened. And so, Nwadimba Ezonyekwelo says constitutional force majeure means returning the peoples to democracy. It's also making their votes to count. One other comment there says constitutional force majeure is recognizing the powers of the peoples and give back power to the peoples. Constitutional force majeure is also that's from Ife Chinwadi, and constitutional force majeure is also to empower the constituents to be part of their governance. Your love or your dedication to your country is actually reinforced by the commitment of the country to you. If you have a country, that country is the one that will elicit your love for it by the way it's treating you. And so today, Nigerians have no country. The only thing that is binding Nigerians together is in dispute, and that's the Constitution. It doesn't matter if the leader of this country that is in dispute comes from your village or from your kindred or even from your family. It is still rooted in confusion. It is rooted in Constitution. In fraudulent Constitution, which essentially goes wrong against you right away before you even go deeper. So let's push for referendum before further elections. If we do that, we are actually stepping out in the right step. That's the first thing to happen. We go through transition. The transitional period brings us to referendum. After that, then we can move forward. Whatever the outcome is, we'll go that direction. And then it will bring our commitment into the country. And then we can have expected future. I hope our people realize what is at stake and do the needful. And then our lot will begin to fall into goodly grounds. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Steve. And viewers, will be here on Saturday, same time, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, to educate you people on the step on how we could take to get back our liberation and have a headable country where we can call home. Before then, I say stay tuned. Don't forget to share, like, and drop your comment, and we'll be responding to your comment as we receive your comment on our platforms. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. And thank you, Mr. Steve, for joining the program today, and all our viewers for watching. God bless you all, and we'll see you same time on Saturday, and bye for now.
Thank you.